Hello YouTube, Sean Bradley here, and today I will be reviewing Elle, the new foreign language film from director Paul Verhoeven. The plot follows Michèle LeBlanc, played by Isabelle Huppert, a businesswoman who is raped in her home one afternoon by a masked assailant, but due to having a bad history with the police, she does not report the rape and decides to take matters into her own hands. So going into this film, I knew that it was a foreign language film. I have never seen a foreign language film at the cinema. I have attended a subtitled screening of Dinner for Schmucks once, but that was it. Usually when I watch foreign language films, it would usually be either on television, when I've recorded them on Sky Plus, or on Netflix. I used to torrent them, but not anymore. One of the advantages of watching a foreign language film is that the subtitles are in English, meaning that you can understand the film, you can understand what is going on, and, be able to connect with the characters. But one of the disadvantages is that it can be a little tasking to focus on both the subtitles and the actors at the same time, as well as the frame. You can't, focus on the whole picture. You can only focus on the subtitles, then the frame. You sort of take it in turns a bit. Up, down, bit like a tennis match. Okay, not a tennis match, but you know what I mean. You cannot focus on the emotions that the actors convey on their faces. Let's go into Paul Verhoeven's direction. Paul Verhoeven began his career in 1960, making short films and attended film classes at the Netherlands Film Academy. After his studies, he joined the Dutch Navy as a conscript, making a documentary entitled from its literal English translation, The Corps of Marines, in 1965, which won a French Golden Sun Award for military films. When he left the Navy, Verhoeven worked on Dutch television, first making a documentary in 1968 about the National Socialist movement leader Anton Mussert, before having his first major success with the TV show Floris, starring Rutger Hauer. In 1971, Verhoeven released his debut feature, Business is Business, which was not especially well received, but had his first national success in 1973 with his second film, Turkish Delight, which received an Academy Award nomination for Best Foreign Language Film in 1974. His next film, 1975's Katie Tipple, would not match the success of Turkish Delight. Verhoeven built on his reputation and received international success with the 1977 film Soldier of Orange, based on a true story about the Dutch resistance in World War II. The film was nominated for a Golden Globe in 1980. The story of the film was continued in the 1979 television film All Things Pass, which served as a coda to Soldier of Orange. The success of Soldier of Orange had led Verhoeven to direct Spetters and 1983's The Fourth Man, which would be Verhoeven's last Dutch film until 2006's Black Book. Verhoeven went to America, where he made his first American film, Flesh and Blood, in 1985. He moved to Hollywood for a wider range of opportunities in filmmaking, making a serious change to his style, directing violent, special effects-laden, big-budget films like the original versions of both RoboCop and Total Recall. He then followed up those successes with the 1992 erotic thriller Basic Instinct, which became the 9th highest grossing film of that year and received 2 Academy Award nominations for Best Original Score and Best Film Editing. But Verhoeven's career hit a bit of a slump with the release of 1995's Showgirls, which was poorly received and won 7 Golden Raspberry Awards, including Worst Picture and Worst Director for Verhoeven, who became the first director to accept his award in person. However, the film enjoyed success on home video, generating more than $100 million from video rentals and became one of MGM's top 20 all-time bestsellers. After his latter 2 films, Verhoeven returned to the sci-fi genre with 1997's Starship Troopers and made his final film in America with 2000's Hollow Man. After about 2 decades of living and working in America, Verhoeven returned to the Netherlands to shoot the aforementioned Black Book. Since his return to European cinema, Verhoeven's name was connected to a large number of projects, but for the moment, none of them had came to fruition. Some of those titles were produced with new directors, such as an adaptation of Pete Dexter's novel The Paperboy, which would end up being made in 2012 by director Lee Daniels, starring Zac Efron, Nicole Kidman and Matthew McConaughey. He also had a film project / competition called Entertainment Experience, which is a bit of a long story, so I won't go into it. So now let's get on to the review. Paul Verhoeven's direction is quite amazing. The cinematography is welcoming in some parts and is dark in others. You could tell from the camera work that the film is a single camera production, as most of the action is shot handheld, even if it is in a calm scene such as a family gathering. The film had a David Fincher feel to it. Mostly in his later films, there is a scene in the film involving a box which reminded me of the film Seven. But the lighting and the cinematography of the evening scenes would put you in mind of something like Gone Girl. The editing is great, and the atmosphere adds suspense, leading us to wonder what will happen next. The film does have a few jump scares in there. And it begins with after Michèle is raped, and then will actually show the full rape later on in the film. Despite the opening, the rape scene is shown in full twice throughout the film. Once as it actually happened in reality, and the second time as a daydream that Michèle has that ends with her bashing the rapist's head in. But the way that the rape is shot, they do have like over the top dramatic music to emphasize the awfulness of the scene, but it is shot mostly handheld to kind of add to the chaos that the act brings to Michèle's life. The Guardian has called this film a startlingly strange rape revenge black comedy, and I happen to agree with them. The film never takes itself too seriously, despite the fact that it is dealing with a very dark subject matter. There is a scene where Michèle is parking her car outside of a restaurant where she is meeting some friends and her ex-husband Richard, played by Charles Berling. As she parks her car, she intentionally smashes into the front bumper of his car and plays it off as an accident. There is a very funny scene involving her son Vincent, played by Jonas Bloquet, and his pregnant girlfriend Josie, played by Alice Isaaz, involving the birth of their baby, which I'm not going to go into, but the way that the reveal is played off would make you think that you're watching a comedy film. The film is also a character study, looking at the decisions that Michèle makes throughout the film. Isabelle Huppert does such a brilliant performance in her role. She plays a woman that has no one to turn to. When the rape happened, she tidies herself up and tidies up the house and goes about the rest of the day as if nothing has ever happened. This is due to a traumatic moment involving the authorities and her father, but again, I'm not going to spoil that for you. The supporting cast in the film are good. Laurent Lafitte does a great performance in the film as Patrick, Michèle's neighbour. Virginie Efira, who plays Patrick's wife, is also good. The film has many different subplots involving Michèle interacting with family members and friends. She is the head of a video game company that are working on the launch of a new game. Her son Vincent is being dominated by his pregnant girlfriend Josie. Michèle is also sleeping with her best friend's husband, and so many others that I will again not spoil for you. Wow, I say that a lot, it might as well become a catchphrase. There are times when they may take over the main narrative of the piece, but it may be there to develop the character of Michèle, as opposed to the film just being a straight-up rape revenge thriller. The film is 2 hours and 10 minutes long, and there are at points when you can actually really feel the pace of it. Michèle does not find out who her rapist is until about over halfway through the film. And when reading about the film on Wikipedia, it does try to ask the question regarding the difference between rape and consent. However, now that I think about it, and this was an inkling that I got whilst I was watching the film, the subplot involving Michèle's father feels like it was not needed. It felt pointless. The whole point of her going out for revenge is because she didn't trust the police because of what happened with her father. But in the end, she in some way that I will not disclose cooperates with the police. So there was no real reason for the father subplot. The score for the film is great. It was composed by British composer Anne Dudley, who had previously scored Verhoeven's Black Book. It has a Hollywood sound to it, harkening back to the classic thrillers. It put me in mind of Jerry Goldsmith's score for Basic Instinct. The film had won 2 Golden Globes in both of the categories that they were nominated for, Best Foreign Language Film and Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama for Isabelle Huppert. The film was France's entry into the foreign language category at the Academy Awards. It was not nominated, but Huppert did score a Best Actress nomination for her performance. She lost to Emma Stone for La La Land. In conclusion, Elle is a suspenseful thriller from Paul Verhoeven, with a brilliant central performance from Isabelle Huppert. The acting of the supporting cast is good, the cinematography is great with some atmospheric lighting and realistic handheld camera work. It shifts in genre from psychological thriller to drama to black comedy and has a nice combination of the three. It came out last month and was only playing in my cinema for one night only. So do check it out before the end of its theatrical release. I give this film a 9 out of 10. This is Sean Bradley signing out. I'll see you later. Bye.